These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and Aaron here recording Wednesday, October 11th. And we have kind of a weird pod today because it's going to be split up into like a million different sections because we have a lot of stuff going on. So as we are recording this, it is 1 p.m. on the 11th. The Celtics play the 76ers tonight in their third game of preseason action. So you're going to hear the reaction to that first or second, or do we want to put that at the very top of the show and then go into the other thing?
Show. That's the most pressing.
That'll be the top of the show.
That's what the people
After
are coming
that,
for.
Yeah, after that, we have an interview with Yahoo Sports insider, NBA insider Jake Fischer, friend of the program, coming back. Thank you to Jake.
You probably saw reports from him over the summer. He's all over it.
Yeah.
He's got the connections. He's their new Shams now that Shams isn't there. He's been there
Jake
for a while.
Fischer.
He was at Bleacher Report before.
Jake Fischer, legend. Thanks to him for coming on the show, and I'm sure we had a great conversation, which we'll go to after that. And then after that, you will get the rest of our stuff, the Celtics news, the NBA news, and the rat list, of course. And I think we're going to try to do a rat list with Jake if he decides to agree to that. But we'll see. We're going to throw it over to the reaction to the 76ers Celtics preseason game, and then the interview with Jake, and then you'll be back to Jack and Sam in these outfits and probably some different ones in between. But we'll see.
Time for some costume changes.
All right, we are here after the Celtics 76ers game. It is now 9:30 on October 11th. We have gone through outfit change. Well, I think Sam has gone through outfit changes. I think I'm still
third
wearing
outfit
the
of the
same
pod.
thing.
Well,
Yeah,
technically second, but you'll see.
I still think
Just
I'm
wait.
wearing the same thing from all day. I still need to shower tonight. But Celtics just took down the Philadelphia 76ers for the second time this preseason, moving to 2-1 on the year. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown didn't play, but everybody else did. And it was once again an impressive showing for lots of players on the roster. Where do you want to start, Sam? There were a lot of good performances tonight. This was a very well-rounded showing from the Celtics. It felt good.
We go in chronological order. I think so.
Sure.
So we'll start with the first half when people actually played, rotation players. You got really good displays from just about any guard that took the floor for the Celtics. You got Jrue Holiday, who had a great game after being 2 of 10 on Sunday, finished with 11 points, 5 of 7.
Yep.
And he looked pretty good. Hit a pull-up 3. Under control, made some passes, played defense. What you're going to need to see from him, it's good to see him be able to kind of be aggressive, initiate, because there are going to be times this year when the Celtics need him to do that. You're not going to have a great Tatum game every night. You're not going to have a great Brown game. You're going to need Jrue Holiday to be able to step up. The pressure's not always going to be on, but it's good to see him take a little bit of that drive.
I agree. Jrue Holiday was good. I'll just start with the other guard. Derrick White was also awesome.
A lot of blocks.
11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. I'm considering writing an article titled "Don't Forget About Derrick White" because it feels like Jrue Holiday's here and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Derrick White, cool." Derrick White is damn good. Derrick White is closer.
Not top 100.
You know that shit pissed me off. We talked about that later in the show. You know that old Scal quote, "I'm closer to LeBron James than you are to me." Derrick White is closer to Jrue Holiday than he is to like any backup point guard in the NBA. You know, like Derrick White is I'm talking about the gap between Derrick White to an all-star versus Derrick White to a role player. He's closer to an all-star than a role player. People don't realize how good Derrick White is because he's so quiet and because he's so unassuming. The Celtics were ready to roll with him as the starting point guard, and he might have averaged all-star numbers in the sense of if the Celtics were really, really good, he would have gotten all-star consideration. Like he is so good. He is one of the best defensive players in the NBA, period. He is one of the best rim protectors in the NBA, period. Like, this was a great reminder of, this guy's damn good. And this was a please start Jrue and Derrick game for those two. They were damn good together.
I think we've reached the point where the Celtics are playing well enough in a well-rounded fashion that it's like they better win the title. Right? 3 preseason.
My dad,
preseason.
You know, my dad at breakfast this morning goes, "I don't see a reason they can't just win all 82 games."
Yeah, they actually should just win every game. Even though they did lose the other day, they weren't trying. They didn't play anybody. Tonight they played half the stars and they blew them out. Blew up Philly, who didn't play anybody. Didn't play their stars. Maxey, who played a lot of the game, actually. Second half minutes for Tyrese Maxey in a game where Tatum and Brown sat. Interesting move from Nick Nurse. Not shocking, though. I think just to go on a tangent, the maxi usage in the preseason is really them being like, do we really need Harden? What's it going to be like when Harden's not here? How much can he
Maxi's
handle?
good.
Maybe that's why they're not playing Embiid, is because they
Maxi's
just want
really
to say
good.
cook.
He cooked. I mean, he's very, very good. He put up 17 points. It was somewhat inefficient, 7-17, 2 of 6, but you can just see how comfortable he is on the floor. Tyrese Maxey's a really good player. Sticking with the other starters, let's go to the bigs quick. Porzingis, 11 points, 5 rebounds. Horford, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Both of them were just exactly
Horford impressive.
Yeah, but both of them exactly what you want it to be. Horford finishing on the drive, just off of quick passes and hitting his threes. Porzingis hitting deep threes. He didn't shoot particularly well. He only made his threes, and he didn't make anything in the lane. He did get stripped in the post a few more times than you want to see. But I think that's just PJ Tucker being a small center and him being a tall center just got under his eyesight a little bit and stripped the ball. But no problems with both of them. Both of them were solid and did what they needed to do. Meanwhile, Sam Hauser, who got the start with these guys, back ? You said 4 threes. It wasn't 4 or 6, but 4 threes for Sam Hauser, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal and a block. He looked really good and impressive to me. It was the first note I made in my new notebook. Sam Hauser as a connector in those first few minutes with the starters, like he didn't make a shot for the first few minutes, but he was making the extra passes. He was driving closeouts. He was passing it out to the perimeter. Like he looked really good as just a player within the Celtics offense all night.
Yeah, so Hauser had a little bit of a redemption game.
Yep.
I'm really happy because for whatever reason, Celtics fans think it's okay to just refer to him as Sam. So whether it's in our comments or on Twitter or anywhere else, I think I'm catching strays when he plays bad. I'm sick of that. So stop missing threes. Hauser's going to be an important piece to Boston's rotation throughout the season. This is another example of him stepping up when he's given more opportunity, when he gets a start. If you go on Basketball Reference and you look at his stats from last season, you pull up the splits, when he starts, the efficiency goes up, the points per game goes up, and he is a steady shooter. Good for him. Good to see he found a little bit of a rhythm. The threes are absolute moonshots when he heaves them up. So it's no surprise when they're kind of just going right through. That's kind of what the whole point of the high arc is. You know all about that.
Yeah, I agree. Hauser looked good. We're going to talk Pritchard. We're going to talk Mikhailu, but since we're going to the bench, can we just start with the title of the podcast? Because god damn, Neemias Queta looked fucking awesome against the 76ers. We made a Neemias Queta video when he came out. We made another Neemias Queta. Evidently so. We made another.
First and foremost, before you continue, anybody else that tries to hop on is late. Because as soon as the signing happened, I was watching college football. I pulled up the laptop. Jack and I hopped on the call, and we were like, "This guy's a dog. Why is he not getting minutes in the NBA? What's wrong with him?" It turns out nothing. Nothing is wrong.
I said it before they signed him.
You did.
We were on it. We were here. We're on the Neemi train. We're not getting off the Neemi train. We should
start charging tickets to the Neemi train.
It goes to the Celtics.
Prices just went up.
It goes to the Celtics to pay the payroll and keep everybody on board so we don't have another Grant situation. No, Neemias Queta was awesome in this game against the 76ers. He only played 7 minutes, 46 seconds off the bench, which seems so low considering how impactful he was in that time. He was a plus 14 in those 7:46. To give you some context of his impact, his usage rate was through the roof, in that time too. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 from the field. If you tweet about Neemias Queta, Portuguese Twitter finds you. He's the only NBA player ever from Portugal, and rightfully so. It makes no sense that he is not on a standard NBA contract. Genuinely, he's good. He is legitimately good. And a little spoiler alert here. Half of this entire page is just Neemi in my little notebook here. It's just two Neemi things right away. Excuse me. I only write about things that I want to write about. The 2 things that I noticed. One was half Neemi. Pritchard looked really good in the pick and roll tonight, running it as a ball handler, and that's something you need from him if he's going to be a guard. Neemi in the dribble handoff game at the top of the key. You can tell he played for the Kings. He's not Sabonis, but these are the things that Sabonis does with Sacramento. Gets the ball at the top of the key, dribble handoff to De'Aaron Fox, rolls behind him, and dunk. Nemi did that like 4 fucking times and it worked every single time in this game. He had 2 alley-oops. He had another one where he grabbed a rebound and a put back. He had another one where he caught it in and put it up afterward. Like, Nemi in the pick and roll was lethal. But more importantly, Nemi running the dribble handoffs at the top of the key was just automatic offense no matter who he ran it with. It just worked. He is so big and so like good at making the right read. Like it's like a fucking read option in football. He was perfect at making the read.
Kind of true. I mean, if you've ever had to defend, even in pickup, like somebody that's a bigger guy but is good, and they do that handoff shit, that is tough to fucking defend. I'll tell you that.
It's Worth. That's literally
shout out Worth. He's a dog. He's tough. I guard that
with.
motherfucker all the time. Keita, 2 assists in short minutes. That's pretty good news. And very impressive 8 minutes from Nemi.
One of those assists wasn't in the dribble handoff pick and roll. It was Nemi in the post, one hand sling pass under a defender's hand to Svi Mikhailou in the corner. Neemias Queta is not only a big body, he's not only a good rebounder, he's not only one of the best shot blockers in Utah State history, maybe the best. Thank you, Tyler Rucker of No Ceilings, for giving us that insight. He's a damn good passer. Like, listen, the Celtics love Luke Kornet. And I think Luke Kornet will get those opportunities to start the season. But don't be surprised if you see a can Neemias Queta replace Luke Kornet in the rotation video if this continues. Because it's like...
Might record it tomorrow.
He is so good. Like I was so legitimately impressed. There's some concerns like you saw in the Knicks game with fouling. He's not in the right spots always in the post, but like his potential on both ends of the court is so clear that it's baffling that the Kings let go of him. It makes no sense.
You might call it excessive fouling. Others may say setting the tone. No nonsense.
True.
From Nemi.
Again, Tyler Rucker, No Ceilings, who's quickly becoming a good friend of the pod. He goes to us. Nemi's the type of guy you throw in there and say, "Hey, go get your 5 fouls on Joel Embiid and call it a day."
Yeah,
sure.
But it is true. Like, that's a good point. Embiid didn't play today. He's going to play the next time these two teams play. You'd imagine they're going to need extra bodies to guard him. Porzingis in his skinny frame isn't going to be doing the job. Al Horford is, of course, going to be the man for it, but he's going to need a break. He can't go for 48 minutes. You may see a lot of Nemi in that game, and that could be a great opportunity for him to break into the rotation if he's not already a part of it. Who knows what they're going to do in the playoffs, because 2-way contracts, he's going to have to fulfill a certain amount of games, then he can't play anymore. Don't know how they work in the playoffs, hand up. But I want to see a lot of them. We were in on him from the beginning. Again, Luke Kornet hasn't really stuck out that much in the preseason. A lot of people are upset with him. Somebody said he's going to be pumping gas.
Mean.
Which is fine. I mean,
rude.
Not if he goes and somehow ends up in New Jersey. They don't pump their own gas. Did you know that?
Remember what'd you say?
In New Jersey, they don't pump their own gas. Did you know that?
Anywhere?
In New Jersey.
Really? Well,
you go to the gas station, that he'll be Luke Kornet.
Yeah, there are places where you can do that here too, but it's just not as common.
Really?
Yeah.
Never seen.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't like.
I
like to do it myself. Remember when I said Neemias Queta was the best shot blocker in Utah State history?
Were you correct?
I was correct. He has the single season record for most blocks in a season, and he is also in second place, 97 and 84 respectively. He averaged 3.3 blocks per game in his junior season and final season with the Utah State Aggies. There was another record I saw. He has, the most blocks per game in school history, the most blocks in school history at 219. Second place is 155. He is 10th in total rebounds. He is second in team history at Utah State for single season defensive rebound season. He has 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is held by the same person. Who is it, Sam?
Who is the number? Last part? Mm-hmm. I was looking to see how many years he'd been in the league.
Neemias Queta has the 3rd and 4th spot on the most defensive rebounds recorded in a single season at Utah State. 1 and 2 is held by the same person. Who is it? Celtics legend.
Celtics legend?
Celtics legend.
Taylor Funk?
It is Justin Bean.
Oh,
Justin Bean.
I should have got that. In fairness, I did get one of the other names that we know that went there. One of the two.
Never played with Nemi though, because he only spent 1 year there. And Nemi was gone by the time he was there. But I was genuinely so impressed with Nemi. He is going to be dominant in Maine. And you look at I wrote about this earlier this summer. I wrote a couple things along the line. The first one was Neemias Queta is the next big man audition for the Celtics. And the other one was the Celtics are using the G League like a farm system now for role players. You look at the path Luke Kornet took. He bounced around a lot. Then he, was on 10 days, whatever. He landed in Maine. He spent time there. The Celtics liked his development. And they signed a new standard deal. Now he's in the rotation. Nemi has a chance to follow that same track. Nemi has a ton of potential on both sides of the ball. His passing is great. He's great in the pick and roll. He can handle the ball. On dribble handoff super well. He's super comfortable in those spots. If he can sort of learn how to deal with that fouling, there's no reason he can't be on a
straight up
deal.
Be a tree.
Yeah, can't be he should be on a standard contract in the next couple of seasons. This is preseason.
Can they convert him? I know they don't have the spot technically right now, but you're allowed to just convert.
Yeah, they did it with Sam Hauser a couple years ago. I know it's just preseason, but we've been high on Queta since they signed him, and we're on the train, and we started the train, and we're going to keep riding it. I am so in on Neemias.
All aboard the
Neemias a beast. Shout out Brendan Glasheen, who is the play-by-play guy up in Maine. He said they're going to call him Call Up Queta this season, maybe, because he's
Call
going
Up
to be
Queta. You should have said nematode. Shout out Jared.
I might have to let him know. But yeah, Nemi was great. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about the other guys as well. I mean, Payton Pritchard's an all-star, right? Like Payton Pritchard, this is like this. He's him. He's
how did we get 15 minutes in? We haven't talked about Pritchard yet. Absolute dog took over in the third quarter. Flex on him, PP, because he just continues to be scorched earth in the preseason.
He's amazing.
He looks like a guy that sat around all last year and was like, damn, I wish I was up there playing. I never want to see the letters DNP again. So I'm going to go out there and just punish everybody. Take my day out on him. Take my year out on him.
If Horford comes off the bench, is there any... Never mind, that's stupid. I was going to say, is there any way in how Pritchard runs for 6 man of the year? He's not going to get the PT for it or the touches for it. But like he's been that good, right?
Yeah, it's tough with the stars. Trade value, probably all-time high. You could probably get, I don't know.
That contract looks like one of the best contracts.
No money matching.
Yeah. That contract's amazing though. Shout out Pritchard. There's I want to talk about him more, but there's not much else to say other than he's just been fucking amazing. Like he's just
it's right in the hot take. The hot take says like
he's
nothing.
Just good. He's just good.
Yeah.
Another guy who's just good, Svi Mykhailiuk, continues to be fucking awesome. 15
breathing
points
down the neck of Sam Hauser.
15 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 of 6 in the field, 3 of 4 from 3. Super comfortable with the ball in his hands. Great on the boards, as you can see, 2 offensive rebounds of his 6. Hauser was good today too, and so it's hard to say, oh, start him over that. Like, it might be the case of Hauser 1. Svi over Brissett and Lamar Stevens at some point. Like he might be edging himself towards the top of the non-pass Celtics rotation. Like Kyler looks real good. Like he's just
I cannot
really
believe
good.
this guy almost was playing overseas.
Right?
Through 2 preseason appearances, he just looks on another level compared to all the other guys they brought in. I suppose if you want to account Hauser's play tonight in and what we know about him from past seasons, it's kind of unfair to put Svi right over him, but he's surely making a case for himself to get real rotation minutes, like you said, to edge out those other new guys because he's just dominant. The guy hates missing. He like got all of his misses out in that one brick he threw up on his first shot. Like he missed so bad that he had no more misses left.
Yeah. Svi's awesome. He's awesome. There's no bad things to say about him. O'Shea, not as good of a game. 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. He did grab 6 rebounds, though. O'Shea is a killer on the glass, and that's something the Celtics have needed in past seasons, so it's cool to see some bench players doing that. Same thing for Lamar Stevens, 4 rebounds, but didn't make his shots. Same thing for Jordan Walsh. Those guys combined to shoot 0 of 11 from the field and 0 of 6 from 3. Not exactly what you want to see. Delano Banton, also not great. He was also 0 of 3, 0 of 1, so those X amount of guys shot. Minus. Yeah, Delano Banton did have a plus 15, but he was rough, and he did get yelled at by Joe Mazzulla on the sidelines. Did not die for a loose ball. Joe Mazzulla subbed him out, said, "Get the fuck out of here, and see you later, buddy." So,
I do understand the sentiment because, like, yes, you want to instill that mentality, but also nobody wants to get hurt today. The season hasn't even started.
I respect it, though. Joe Mazzulla said, "You guys want to mock me for not caring about defense last year? Fine. See you later. I care about defense now."
Yeah, actually respect.
Be better. He's like,
I like New Joe.
I knew Joe is. This is a completely different version of Joe Mazzulla. Lamar Stevens was good. Hustled on defense just didn't make his shots. Luke Kornet was
not as good as Neemias.
Non-existent. Like he's fine. He's fine for what he is, and I stand by that. And he'll still be fine in the regular season. 3 assists is good too, but meh. JD Davison was also meh. 1 of 4, 0 of 2. Wenyen Gabriel was all right. He grabbed a couple, grabbed a rebound, made a couple shots. I think he finished an alley-oop, and DJ Stewart was whatever.
Is he on a full contract?
No, Wenyen Gabriel, like Lamar Stevens, is on an Exhibit 9.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, Jrue Carter. I like Jrue Carter. I'm in on Jrue Carter. Good. He was really good.
Was fine.
I really enjoyed it. It was weird, but cool. And this isn't meant to be like, oh, I didn't like Gorman. Obviously, like Gorman's the fucking GOAT. Him making references as like a 26-year-old was like fun as somebody who was around the same age. Do you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, that was different. Cool. And to be successful in this succession plan, you have to be different. You can't go in there and try and be Mike Gorman because everyone's gonna be like, well, you're not Mike Gorman, so you suck. You're not as good as him. But if you're yourself and you're your own younger personality, like you mentioned, it adds something different. You weren't necessarily going to get that with Grandy. I think Grandy has established himself in this market. There's no mistake. Yeah. He's a legend too. But he's more similar to Gorman than he is Jrue Carter, meaning you're not going to get as much of a difference, and there's more of a chance that people may not love him in the TV side of things. Maybe. Hot take, maybe. I like him. But I also don't like him with Scal. I'll say that. And if they want to keep Scal around, maybe Grandy and Scal does not work.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Carter was unique. I like his voice. He was fun. He was on top of things. I think he is finding a balance with Scal. Like he's playing off Scal rather than having Scal play off him, which is good, which is what you need to do. I'm in on Jrue Carter. I thought it was a good game. I didn't really get a great chance to listen to him on the playback because we were so focused on doing that. But like listening to him tonight, just watching the game, really enjoyed Jrue Carter. He was awesome. So shout out him.
Our listeners are not going to like that.
I really like Jrue Carter. I thought he was great. Any other takeaways from this game that you want to notice? I'll check my little notebook here. I think I covered everything that I wrote down.
Sixers are just afraid to start the ass kicking already. Keep resting and beating Harden. They don't want to trot him out there and get humiliated by the Celtics just yet. Understandable. You bring in a new coach, you want to maybe make people believe things might be different, but might not. Also, Kelly Oubre, good. Tonight, good.
Yeah, he got hot real quick. Any other Sixers look good? Not that I noticed. He was hot. That was fun. Paul Reed needs to stop shooting threes. Exit. No. Just play your game, buddy. And Pat Bev time, baby. He calls a number. Good for him. All right. I think that what'd you say?
Legend, Pat Bev.
Yes, sir. All right. I think that about does it. Let's throw it over to now our interview with Jake Fischer. It is our pleasure to welcome in Jake Fischer of Yahoo Sports, NBA insider, senior writer for Yahoo Sports. His second time on the programming. We were joking off air. Last time we had Jake on, I think we had a different podcast name and used Skype. So, Jake, you get to see us a little bit better this time around. Thank you for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. How are things your way?
Good.
You
know, happy
that basketball's back.
Yeah.
We're on the same page, too.
Yeah. That's been the consensus. But how was your summer? A good off season? Happy basketball's back too, I presume?
Yeah, summer was good. I mean, I had a lot of basketball because I went to Manila for the World Cup. So I was out there for 3 weeks. I was in Asia for 3 weeks before that. So it was a long trip. It was a good time. I'm not itching to get back into the regular season just quite yet. I'm gonna savor up these last 2 weeks because the Dame trade hanging over everything and the Harden stuff didn't make the Labor Day to October stretch as September-y as it normally feels. So other than that, yeah, we're excited to get back into the swing of things.
There you go. Well, it wasn't exactly time off for you. It was less of an off season, more of an on season. But we figured we'd start with Celtics stuff because this is a Celtics podcast. Obviously, they made the trade for Jrue. They made the trade for Kristaps. But I feel like one of the things that hasn't been talked about as much, especially now that Payton Pritchard has gotten extended, Derrick White is extension eligible. I forgetting the date off the top of my head. I think it's before the season, or maybe it's April. Season, but regardless, A, have you heard anything, or do you have any insight on a potential Derrick extension? And B, what are you thinking about, or what is your opinion on a potential Derrick White extension for the Celtics? Because he was really crucial to their success last year, and he will continue to be moving forward.
Definitely crucial. I can't say I've heard anything specific on where those talks, if there are talks, have come up at all, to be honest. But what I can say is Derrick White is assuredly someone that the Celtics front office and coaching staff is very, very high on. I'm not necessarily sure if the starting lineup that had Jrue Holiday on the bench, for example, behind Derrick White, behind Al Horford, is like just because Jrue was getting into the swing of things. Like I think, clearly Boston traded 2 first-round picks and 2 key rotation players from last year to go get Jrue Holiday. They value him, but that's not to mean that they value Jrue Holiday more than Derrick White. That's just kind of the picture I can paint from my standpoint of just how high the Celtics are on what he can do on both sides of the floor across multiple positions and being that guard next to Jalen and Jason.
Speaking of Jrue Holiday, Jack was at the introductory press conference. Brad Stevens cannot stop smiling, but he couldn't talk about the contract extension talks. Do you have any idea what the number would be? Because he's getting older. And after the trade came out, there was reports that they'd kind of had like a handshake that he would get extended and be around for more than just 1 year. He has a player option, but he could leave if he wanted to at the end of the season. Have you heard anything on that front?
Well, they can't legally discuss anything to this juncture. I will say the fact that Jrue Holiday is represented by a particular agent who represents several other players on the roster, that will be very beneficial synergy to getting something like that wrapped up. And look, like, let's just call a spade a spade. I don't think the Celtics would have been so willing to trade 2 second-round picks plus, veteran talent. The question marks about both Brogdon and Robert Williams from a dependability, accountability, health standpoint are out there. But like, I don't think Boston does that without some type of at least indication that it's a place and a situation that Jrue would want to be involved with long term. So I wouldn't be sitting here worried if I'm a Celtics fan that there won't be an opportunity for them to extend it beyond this season.
What do you make of the whole Jrue, Derrick White out, like the whole starting lineup? Really, the Celtics have 6 starters on the roster.
Yeah.
I know that's corny to say at this point, but like, what do you make of that? Just your opinion. Like, what do they start? How do they roll with that? There's no way Jrue actually comes off the bench, right? Like, right?
They flexed on us.
Here's the thing. No matter what happens, no matter which 5 guys end up starting, someone's gonna, nick an elbow here or twist an ankle there, or they're gonna have 1 game off due to rest, or something's gonna happen where it's a new starting 5 for a couple games, and then that other player comes back and they're off the bench to start, and that starting lineup was 4-0 without that. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be so fluid, and I think ultimately when you get into the playoffs where these questions really matter, it's going to be so matchup dependent. And that's kind of the beauty in how the Celtics are constructed. They really do think that we've got big lineups. We could play 1 big lineup, so either Al or Kristaps. We've got, they really do trust Luke Kornet to be a big innings eater through the regular season. I think the Celtics like their versatility and their ability to play small and play big. There could be an opportunity where both Derrick White and Jrue Holiday are starting, and it's those 4 guys and one of the bigs. Like, I think to sit here and predict what it's going to be, I just first broached the subject in my first mention of it just to kind of indicate this. Like, they're going to have so many options. They're not afraid to use all of them and kind of explore all those different looks, and I expect them to.
Makes sense.
Speaking of, the versatility, the reliance and trust in their guys, how much do you think the value they put into a guy like Payton Pritchard, who they just extended, Kornet and Sam Hauser, impacted their willingness just
our comments have been so mean
reshape the roster? People are not pleased with Luke Kornet, by the way. They would like to see them bring in some more center help. I don't know if
Right
you've heard
now, the
anything
live
about
comments, I can't see.
Well, no, not live. On our
okay.
Don't worry.
our last video, which by the way, we talked about Steve Mikhailu and Sam Hauser in our last video, and one of the comments was Luke Kornet will be pumping gas next year. Like, so it's strange.
Will he be pumping gas next year?
Listen, when I went, I was a radio broadcaster, play-by-play color commentator guy for WRBB 104.9 FM. If you're in the Boston area, tune in. Go Huskies. When I was at Northeastern, and we went down to play Vanderbilt. I think it was like January 2nd. Like, not a fun time to be on a college campus. And
yeah, nobody there.
Luke Kornet was the starting center for Vanderbilt, and he was the 7-foot gangly dude knocking down threes from 35 feet out. And I turned to the kid next to me, who, I mean, I wasn't an NBA writer at the time, but I was definitely starting to make my way. Whatever, he wasn't like in the NBA ecosystem. And I said to him, "Hey man, like Luke Kornet's going to be an NBA player." And he said, "I think you need to figure out about having a different job if you think that." And look who was right. I mean, he might not be the premier backup center in the NBA, but I think, yeah, the Celtics are high on him from just like a spacing standpoint. And I think also like character guy type things. Sam Hauser stuff. I mean, the Celtics love Sam Hauser. Like, I don't necessarily think he's anything special compared to your average, like 6'8", 40% 3-point shooter, but there are not many 6'8", 40% 3-point shooters when you really think about it. So you got to give your flowers where your flowers are due. I don't know, with Pritchard, he's the most interesting of those three guys, just being that his contract, and maybe this is like a peek behind the curtain to like the insiderness that people expect from me. Like when an extension happens, like everyone around the league who cares about that stuff, which is a lot of people, like not the scouts so much, but you know, the cap nerds and the analytics guys and the agents, like they want to know, what do you think about the deal? Who won, team or player? And, you know, Pritchard's thing was a little bit interesting just because he didn't have any role last year from a player side of things that you'd want to be negotiating off of. And he's potentially going to be having exactly the role that you would want to be going into a negotiation with, but you get the deal done now. All that stuff though is like such a wide, like who knows how his season would have unfolded to go from someone who was out of the rotation basically last year to guaranteed $30 million more in your pocket. Can't really fault anyone for taking that. But I mean, I've personally been a fan of Pritchard for a little while. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was sometime last season. I was in the Celtics locker room in Philly after a game, or maybe before the game. And one of their PR people I played pickup with before, and PR guy says to Pritchard, like, "Oh yeah, like Jake like plays decent. He's not a bad player." And I was like, "Trust me, I'm nothing." And Pritchard kind of like tightened up. He like clenched his fist and he was kind of like, "Oh yeah, like what's your game like?" And it wasn't in any like intimidating, antagonistic kind of way. It just kind of showed like this dude is a hooper and he's confident and competitive. And I think the way he's kind of come out the last couple preseason games, or the first couple preseason games, whichever way you want to look at that glass half empty, half full slate of the preseason schedule, I think like that kind of swagger he's playing with is what he's going to try to do. I'm not trying to speak for Payton Pritchard, but just as my role as an observer, like the dude's out here with something to prove. He was stapled on the bench last year, itching to play and itching to show that he's an NBA player and one who can make an impact on a title contender. So now he's got a shot. I feel like he's going to be doing not like he's going off for 40 and hitting step back game winners all season long, but playing with that type of punch. I think he's bringing that same production in whatever role he will have.
He's ready to prove he's better than you. He clenched his fist when he heard you might be able to play a little bit.
There's no way he's not better than me, but neither here nor there.
Something to prove. All right. I think that's what we got for Celtics. Moving on to the NBA, we have different colors here. You know, like I said, upgraded from the Skype. You know, something
nice
special.
Production level.
I'm just gonna start with this, and I'm just gonna make it a blanket statement and let you share your opinion or anything. What are the Raptors doing? Like, just like, just why? Just like that's been like obviously since the deadline last year. Are they gonna sell? Who are they gonna sell? Psych, we're gonna buy and trade a first round pick, and then they're gonna do nothing. This like. What's the deal? Like opinion, anything? Like just what the hell?
I don't think the Raptors have that answer either, which is why we've had this exact conversation about them for 18 months now. You know, I mean, it goes back to even the will they, won't they trade Kyle Lowry at the deadline in 2021, I believe it was, before they end up getting Precious Achiuwa back, and I think maybe a pick in that sign and trade when he went to Miami. So, you know, to lose Fred VanVleet for nothing, to teeter on the edge of trading OG, and now, you know, he's going to, without a doubt, I mean, anything can happen, but without a doubt, he's going to be wanting to not exercise his player option for next season, to get into free agency, to not take an extension and try to make, I mean, the Devin Vassell 135 contract that just got agreed to the extension with San Antonio right before Payton Pritchard, like any young wing in the league, they're looking at that and they're thinking, and they're looking at Jeremy Grant's contract and they're thinking, well, you got to be getting me 150. So, I mean, they're in a weird position where they don't have a clear path forward. They could have several paths diverging from the point that they're at. And not all these pieces involved are going to be involved in all those different paths. The one constant right now that you know is that at this juncture, at least for the foreseeable future, Toronto views Scottie Barnes as their linchpin, as their franchise guy, as their Jason Tatum, as their Luka Doncic, as their, you know, go down the list. So we'll see if he actually does become that guy. That's the most interesting thing to me. You can talk about Pascal Siakam's contract and his trade candidacy. You can talk about OG Anunoby. But at the end of the day, none of those things truly matter from the Raptors standpoint, as long as Scottie Barnes doesn't ascend to being that true franchise engine that they're hoping he can be.
They're a mess. I mean, Siakam, they don't even know if he wants to leave, doesn't want to leave, because there were always reports this summer being like, he doesn't even want to get traded. He wants to stay in Toronto, even though they're just in purgatory. So
well, I'll say this. I don't know if he will only want to stay in Toronto if he's not able to come to terms on the contract extension that he wanted to only stay in Toronto to sign. So those things are always sliding doors.
Is that a beginning of the season thing, like the Derrick White extension, or is that a next summer thing?
Like
I believe he's got the preseason deadline. I think, I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest, but yeah.
So are there any teams you would think that might be interested in going after him, specifically in the Eastern Conference?
I mean, Atlanta was trying to get him for sure this summer. They've liked him for a long time based off of what I've been told. I don't know if they ever get anything done there. I don't necessarily know how far apart they were, but I was definitely hearing DeAndre Hunter's name and all that stuff. So how well he plays, that's something to keep an eye on for potential pivot points for him. I mean, I really didn't hear him linked to other teams. His name always came up with Portland because of that number 3 pick and what have you. But I just don't think there was ever anything really serious there with the Blazers. The only team I could confidently say, like, I know they coveted and were trying to go acquire Pascal Siakam is Atlanta.
All right. Speaking of serious, is Ben Simmons back this year?
That's what they're saying. It was. I mean, I went to Brooklyn's media day, I guess it was last Monday, and that was definitely a theme of the day.
It's back.
We'll see. I mean, I watched a little bit of that game against the Lakers from Monday night. He certainly physically looked back. Like, as someone who's kind of followed him throughout his career, because I used to pay quite a bit of attention to the Sixers rebuild. I mean, watching him last season, he kind of looked like an action figure in a bad way. Like, you know, talking about like GI Joes, where like you're built and you're strong, but your arms only move in one direction and your legs only, like, he was just stiff and rigid, and he wasn't like this fluid runaway athlete that we saw in Philadelphia when he got out into transition. At least against the Lakers in Las Vegas on Monday night, he looked fluid and powerful and active out there. I don't know if he's going to be able to be anything more than that. I don't know if he's going to be able to like reascend back to all-star status, but at least so far he's moving like an all-world athlete that has the potential to at least guard to that level. So we'll see what happens on the offensive side of things, because a lot of his stuff is obviously mental from a confidence standpoint with shooting and attacking and what have you. But at least from a physical running around the floor, being an athlete out there, like, he does kind of look back to me.
Back.
Okay.
Right here first. Okay. So this is going to need some context. you mentioned at the start of the show that your off season hasn't really happened yet. So we're gonna give you a chance. This is something fun. Well, it's just you've been basketball. Yeah, you've been It's more of an
on the Olympics next year. Too.
This is true. So we do something called the Rat List on all of our podcasts. Now, again, the context is a rat is just an annoyance. So I'll give you an example because I'll give you my rat list today. So in my town, there's an intersection that it is like it's like a trident, basically. One thing coming one way, then 3 roads coming the other way. And all 3 of the roads coming one way have a stop sign. And the other road doesn't.
All of Massachusetts, I know from
it's terrible.
Boston high school sports for the Globe. Every roundabout is a disaster.
It's terrible. So, but the people coming down the one, like the staff of the trident, effectively think there's a stop sign there. So they just stop in the middle of the intersection and like ruin the whole traffic pattern. That driver is a rat, right? So that's the context of the rat list. So this can be just any annoyance. It can be the Dunkin' Donut worker who forgot your coffee. It can be the person in traffic who cut you off.
I've got one.
A rat. Perfect.
Right.
See this every time we mention it, the guests are like, "Yeah, I've got some anger. I've got."
Everybody's ready to go.
I'm not really angry. Just I was left perplexed. So I went to the eye doctor for my annual checkup yesterday, and when I'm checking in, I give your insurance, give your ID.
Yep.
The lady sends back. I pay for my copay. Shout out Yahoo for great company benefits, and I get this form back from the lady. She says, "By the way, if you do an exam to where your prescription will have to change, it's called a refraction. If you do a refraction exam here and we do give you a new prescription, it's a $75 fee, your insurance may not cover it." So I said to her, "May not. So are you saying that it may?" And she said, "No, it won't cover it." So I had the thought. I really did think about pressing, not in a mean way, just, well, then why say it may? Why say it may not?
Yeah.
Like,
why not just say it's not going to cover it? That was kind of, and like the look on her face when I clearly had caught her in the scheme. She was like, no, it won't get covered. It was almost like she was embarrassed that because it's not her task. It's not her decision. She's just working the front desk.
She could have tried to make something up.
Yeah, so the rat is not her. The rat is whoever puts innocent, kind ladies like her in that position to mislead eye patients. That is my rat of the day.
That's a really good one. Wait,
thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly what the rat list is about. Sam, you have anything quick?
I got nothing. I burned them all when we recorded the
we recorded the rest of the show earlier. So we appreciate you tuning in. I will say thank you for joining. Sam, filibuster for a second. I gotta grab something right here.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Jake. You know, it's very busy here. Preseason getting underway. You've been busy all summer.
You guys are making it seem like I was complaining about how much I was like hanging out in Asia and going to a cool tournament.
Best moment from the trip?
Best moment from the trip, I had probably a life-changing conversation with an Uber driver. That was bizarre.
Oh.
Yeah, anti-rat list.
Anti-rat list. Yeah, I'm rooting for you. I forgot the guy's name. We follow each other on Instagram. I'm rooting for you, my dear friend.
There you go. Amazing. This is what I was grabbing. I just wanted to say I'm a fan.
There you go.
Really good. Built to Lose. Phenomenal. This was a great book. I read it
Appreciate that,
when I was making a couple train trips a year or two ago, and I've had it just sitting back there. So I was like, I meant to grab it before we started, but I didn't. But thank you again, Jake Fischer.
It's still on sale, very heavily discounted on Amazon.com. Very heavily discounted on Amazon.com.
Stress that real quick. But thanks, Jake. We appreciate you joining on. Let me just pull this up quick. Jake L. Fischer on Twitter. I'm just reading the bio. Yahoo Sports, No Cap Room, Ball Don't Lie, Built to Lose, got it all there. You made my life easy because I could just read your Twitter bio. It was there. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck this year.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Jake Fischer for joining us. Thank you again to now future Sam and Jack. That's weird. I was almost saying past Sam and Jack because it's going to be in the past on the show, but it's in the future now as we're recording this.
We don't know where we're at.
We're lost. We're in the Matrix. But thank you to Jake and thank you to everybody. Sam's and Jax's of the multiverse. We're back, this current version of ourselves, and we're going to talk about ESPN's top 100 and where the Celtics lie. And we're going to start with somebody not on the list just because it makes me angry. Derrick White not in the top 100 is probably one of the most egregious mistakes that a professional sports outlet could possibly make. Not even from a bias perspective, partially from a bias perspective, but just objectively, he is better than a lot of players on like there is no argument that can be made that Derrick White is not better than the following players: Colin Sexton, Grant Williams, Harrison Barnes, Russell Westbrook, Emmanuel Quickley, right? Like John Collins, Buddy Hield, Kyle Kuzma. Like, what are we doing? Like, these are good players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these guys are terrible. Jordan Clarkson. I'm not saying these players are bad, but Derrick White was an all defensive second team player last year, played in all 82 games, shot 40% from three, had a great playoff run, was set to be the Celtics starting point guard, and still might be a part of their starting lineup. And we're putting Mitchell Robinson and the Celtics' seventh man in the rotation last year ahead of him. for how? For what?
You know it's bad when Jack is like going against Grant. This is how quickly people change. You know, you leave the team and they turn their back on you right away. Last year, Jack would have been like, yeah, okay, I can see it. Like, Grant plays good defense, makes threes. Like, he is valuable, but not in the Celtics.
Not above Derrick White. Not above Derrick White.
I think it's crazy too.
He is on the list. Okay, I'm sorry. Sam, better player, Marcus Smart or Derrick White?
Smart.
No.
He was a better player last year.
Derrick White was better than Marcus Smart last year.
He was all defensive second team, but Smart had more responsibility.
But I thought
Derrick White was bigger.
Regardless, it's close. You can argue for either.
They're probably on the same level. For White to be, what is Smart? 60?
59. Yeah.
59? For him to be plus 41 at least spots on the list,
nuts.
Isn't really fair. But also, Porzingis is 62. Not to spoil like any of the other aspects of this.
Yeah.
And Porzingis, I mean, we saw it against Philly in the first game. He rules.
You know what happened on this list?
They wanted you to talk about it?
No. Off-season additions that they liked were significantly boosted. Grant Williams into the top 100. Marcus Smart above. Big Marcus Smart fan here. Don't get me wrong. Marcus Smart above Desmond Bane, DeJounte Murray, and Kristaps Porzingis. Like, who are some other offseason additions?
Was Desmond Bane an all-star last year? Did we have this?
No, he wasn't. Jaren Jackson was. That's the confusion.
I knew there was some. Yeah, I think there is something with Desmond Bane that I was not aware of, though, that happened like that.
Like Damian Lillard above Donovan Mitchell. It's because he's on the Bucks now. You know what I'm saying? Like off-season acquisitions were just bumped up on the list. Who else? What's another off-season acquisition? Even Jrue Holiday. You know, if we want to keep it unbiased.
He didn't move. He literally is the same spot as last year on the list.
Okay, sure. But like, there was some sort of boost that bumped up players who were acquired by teams. Like Derrick White is a better player than Grant Williams. He's a better player than Robert Williams. He's a better player than Russell Westbrook. Like, I don't understand how this list was made and Derrick White was left off. That's an egregious miscalculation. That's all I got.
I think there's a lot of guys in the league that are at the same level, but I think this list is really intertwined, overlapping, or tangled. Tangled is the correct word. Because, like you said, Smart at 59 maybe isn't that egregious, but for White to not even be on the list when they're at a very similar level, White being named to all defense second team last year, Porzingis being below Smart, like I would say Porzingis is at least better than Marcus.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's fair, but I think they've just got it very disheveled, very unorganized, and part of it is to get you to talk about it, and we're taking the bait. And a lot of people wrote about it, talked about it yesterday. Grant being on the list is kind of weird. Grant is throughout his career, only been a bench role player. He hasn't even really been a starter.
Yes.
Even having Quickly, he's not better than Derrick White.
Mitchell Robinson.
Russ was borderline out of the league last year before he joined the Clippers. Now, he did have a redemption arc when he was with them in the playoffs. He played well. He was impactful again. There is hope for him in this new role with them on a team where he doesn't really have to play off the ball as much. Maybe he can be effective again. But I would still probably rather have Derrick White. I don't think that's a big question.
Yeah, I agree with you. Other guys on the list, though. Kristaps Porzingis, as we briefly mentioned, is 62nd, which is a bit low for a guy who played at an all-star level.
Preseason.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. Jrue Holiday at 26, Jaylen Brown 19, Tatum not revealed yet. They have not revealed the top 10, but he is in the top 10 above guys like Devin Booker and Jimmy Butler. So good for Tatum. I mean, yeah, makes sense. He's not revealed yet. But any issues with any of those rankings?
I think Jalen might even be a little high. I don't know exactly who he's like right above, like who's in that area.
I
just
tell you.
went through and quickly looked at the numbers.
Jaylen Brown.
But it feels like he was discounted quite a bit this summer, and then all of a sudden he all has this respect again.
He is above or like better than Karl Anthony Towns.
True.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Maybe not.
I know you're very high on. Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam. And then
those
Jrue
are probably
Holiday.
all fair for the most part. Kawhi is a tough one, just because you know, he is good when he plays, but when he doesn't play, then you know you really can't do a whole lot with him if he's just sitting there in street clothes. He's not giving you a whole lot from the bench. So Jalen has that on him. I'm not sure that Jalen's better than Halliburton. Fox is a tough one because he was the number one for that Kings team as they made that surprise run to the 3rd seed.
Mm-hmm. You know what's crazy?
I guess they're all on the same level.
Number 17 on this list has never been an All-Star.
Jamal Murray.
Crazy Jamal Murray's never been an All-Star. I mean, he's been hurt, so I get it, but Jamal Murray's going to be an All-Star this year, even if he averages 5 points.
Everyone's going to be like, we owe it to him. It's going to be like the Embiid MVP.
Yeah, this is the respect. Our bad. Like, here you go. But
he was unbelievable in the playoffs.
He was ridiculously good in the playoffs.
Efficient, a lot of points, a lot of assists.
He was awesome. But
did it all.
Speaking of guys voting, let's take a look at the NBA's GM survey. They released it, this year's version. I wrote about it for Celtics blog, so we can run through some of the ranks here and the top things to note from it without having to just read through the whole thing. Let's see here. Tatum landed 3rd in the poll for MVP.
Feels like he's due, but I'll say this. Through the one game that I've seen at this part of the recording, might suck. He might not even be the best player on the Celtics, never mind the MVP. So need him to get it together. But in all seriousness, for Tatum to win an MVP, he's going to have to actually be the MVP for the whole season.
Yeah.
Every single season of his career, we've seen him fall off a cliff or start in a hole. He hasn't put together a whole season. Usually it's what we're seeing now where the start of the season rolls around and he's not quite up to the level that we all expect. Last year, he came out of the gates red hot, released his shoes right at the All-Star break, and then sucked after. And that really killed any chance he had of winning MVP. If he wants to get that, he needs to play a full season of consistent basketball.
Well, Sam, for what it's worth, Tatum in 3 preseason games last year averaged 18 points on 38% from the field and 20% from deep. So maybe this is a good sign that he'll get off to another hot start in the regular season. So we'll have to see. But yeah, he was 3rd in MVP, according to GMs. Celtics were tied with the Nuggets, earning 33% of the votes for the team most likely to win the finals. 53% of GMs said the Celtics would win the East, 43% Milwaukee. Those numbers were flipped for 2nd place, and the only other team to get a vote for 1st or 2nd place was the Miami Heat, who got 3% for each of them, which is fitting. Makes sense. Nuggets overwhelmingly won the West. Tatum, 3rd for MVP, like I said. He also received a vote for if you could start a franchise today with any NBA player, who would it be? Jokic was 1st. Wemby was 2nd. Shocker. I'm just going through quickly. Stop me if you want to talk about any, but this is factual stuff we're talking about. Tatum got a vote for the best shooting guard in the NBA, which is just like, watch the game and
pay
attention. That's not what he plays. Yeah. He won the vote. 47% of GMs voted him as the best small forward in the NBA, which is crazy, but it was a bit skewed because Luka kind of suffered the Tatum fate. He was 3rd as point guard, 3rd as small forward, 2nd as point guard, 3rd as shooting guard, 3rd at small forward. So Luka was just kind of spread out voting wise in terms of like where people wanted to rank him. So it is what it is.
Yet in fantasy, he's only playing point guard.
Yeah, Sam's angry. Best overall moves this offseason. Bucks and Celtics tied at 23% of votes, or top of the top there. Trailblazers and Mavericks also on the list. So there you go. Celtics helping out.
Trailblazers got a lot for Dame.
They did. They were
after a summer of everyone being like, you have to take Tyler Hero and 2 bad draft picks.
They did not, and they came out better. Which one player will make the biggest impact? Like acquisition from the summer, Dame got 47% of the vote, but Jrue Holiday got 13%, and Kristaps got 7%. So those two are getting some love there as well.
Did they not watch him play on Sunday? Kristaps is the GOAT.
I think this was a bit before that. So they didn't see. Most underrated acquisition, Marcus Smart, number one, 17%. Grant Williams, second place, 14%. So there you go. There, Jrue Holiday to Boston received a vote as well, and as did Kristaps to Boston.
I feel like they're both kind of appropriately rated. Porzingis, maybe not so much, but Holiday for sure. Everyone was like, title back to being favorites after the Dame trade, and it was just Celtics all day. That's what everyone was saying. With Porzingis, it was a little bit like, well, did they get worse defensively? He can't move his feet. He's injury prone, which could be true. Who knows what's going to happen tonight? Knock on wood. But he looked great in the first game. He was moving well. He looked comfortable in quick touch situations. I thought he looked great. Could be a great fit on a really good team.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for Porzingis. Jordan Walsh got a vote for the biggest steal of the draft based on where he was selected. He only got one, though. Cam Whitmore won it with 43%.
Sure
as
did.
Sam likes to say, the Rockets were considering him with 4, and they got him at 20. So there you go.
Great job by the Rockets.
Mm-hmm. Best defensive player in the NBA, Giannis won at 40%. Jrue Holiday comes in second at 13% of the vote. Marcus Smart also there at 10%, tied for third. So respect for Jrue Holiday. Best perimeter defender in the NBA, Jrue Holiday overwhelmingly took that with 50%. Tatum also got a vote. Interestingly enough, Mikal Bridges finished second in this at 13%. Did not get any votes for best defender in the NBA, though. So that's a bit odd.
It is weird, isn't it? Because
yeah,
I believe when I looked at this, Smart isn't really even mentioned in this other than he received a vote.
No, he got 10% of the vote for best defensive player and 10% for perimeter defender. He was
okay.
Just
sure. Wouldn't you think that vote would go up, though? Because the category becomes more narrow?
I suppose, but I guess most of the people just, like, all the people who voted other people for best defensive player also thought Jrue Holiday is better than Marcus Smart, so they just went with him instead of Marcus. But the fact that Mikal was on perimeter but not even mentioned as the other one is a bit odd. Like Alex Caruso receiving a vote for defensive player, but then getting less than a guy who was not even listed. Like that's where it's a bit odd that he wasn't mentioned. Tatum also got a vote for best perimeter defender. Best defensive team is by far clear and away voted as the Celtics, 47% of the votes. And the Celtics were number one last year as well, 69%. So they did, I guess you can technically say their defense got worse, but we're picking straws there. Grizzlies second place at 17%. Shout out Marcus and Triple J. Best head coach, no love for Joe. However, Joe Mazzulla did get some love for the best defensive schemes, receiving a vote there. Which is interesting because he
won that. Spoelstra?
Yeah, Spoelstra won best defensive schemes. Spoelstra won best in game adjustments. Spoelstra won best manager motivator. Spoelstra won best. Spoelstra was 73% of votes for best head coach. It was not close.
Snubbed. Recency bias.
Pop was second at how much percent? Pop was tied for third at 7%. Tyronn Lue was second. Yeah. There you go. Let's see. Best assistant coach in the NBA, Sam Cassell and Charles Lee both got 7% of the vote, tied for fourth there. Jordy Fernandez won in a landslide at 31%, and he's in Sacramento right now. Which active player will make the best head coach someday? Jrue Holiday tied for fifth at 7%. Chris Paul won at 20%. So there you go. Most interesting name on the list is Garrett Temple. Tied for second. So there, shout out Garrett Temple. Grant Williams did get a vote for that, though. So maybe we'll see Grant coaching one day. That'd be something.
I don't think anybody would respect Grant if he was a coach. He would be like a David Blatt type. Where
No. I disagree. I think he'd be. I think fans
this team.
No. I think fans would laugh at him. Players would respect him. Players respect Grant. Miscellaneous. Which is the most fun team to watch? Celtics got a vote there. Best home court advantage. Celtics got tied for fifth. Nuggets won in a landslide at 37%. Which I assume, I think the altitude, but they have a good arena too. Nuggets get loud. I'll give them credit. Which team led the league's most efficient offense this season? Celtics tied for fourth at 10%. Team's level of success, toughest to predict, is the Sixers at 30%. That's fine.
It is tough. You don't know what you're going to get from the Sixers. We have our little chats every once in a while. Oh, who do you think is going to finish where? It's like, well, you don't even know who's going to be on their team.
Yeah. For sure. Definitely.
It's not crazy to be like Embiid's going to get traded. He could get traded by the deadline. You don't know.
I don't know.
Probably
that
won't
far,
happen, but if I told you today it was going to happen, you'd be like, oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I could see
I
it.
could see a world. Jrue Holiday got a vote for best leader. Tatum got a vote for most versatile, and I believe that is it. That wraps up the survey. Any qualms? Any interesting tidbits you noticed?
Yeah,
when you
Celtics should
read it
be
over?
higher up on that home court list.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
should be fifth.
that is a bit low.
Who's
And
above?
Denver first, Warriors second, Kings third, Jazz 4.
Kings third, Jazz 4. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I
At
wonder
least
if
the Warriors, I can kind of get it.
I get the Kings. No, the Kings. I respect the Kings. Kings
Well,
are
they're just so
fair.
deprived. But the Warriors,
Perfect
even when the
Jazz.
Warriors weren't good yet, they had that team that upset Dirk's Mavs, and then they had all the decibel levels in the arena on the broadcast. Like, Warriors fans have always been good fans. They've just been blessed with success, so people kind
I
of
will
label them as
say-
hop-ons.
I will say the question doesn't necessarily say best fans. It just says home court advantage. So I think Utah does have some elevation as well, just not as significant as Denver. So like maybe that's a part of it. But if it was just fans, like as much as I can dislike or root against them, like Philly also being as low as they are,
Philly
is
does have
also a
good
bit,
fans.
that's a bit disrespectful to Philly as well. But anyways, we can move on. Jrue Holiday spoke about Kristaps Porzingis. You put this on the sheet, so I'm going to get caught up on a message, and you're going to help me lead this quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I believe after Sunday's game, we didn't really touch upon this, but Holiday did talk about playing alongside Kristaps, who also came to the Celtics over the summer, in case you were underneath a rock. They both debuted against the Sixers at the Garden, and when he was asked about what Kristaps is going to change within Boston's scheme and within their team, he said open space. Said Porzingis is another target, another shooter where you can't really leave him. You have to guard him. If you don't guard him, he'll do what he did tonight. Had that monster start. I think he was very efficient for 17 points. He said, I feel like driving lanes are going to be a more open space for guys like Tatum and Brown, and they're going to get to the basket a lot easier. It makes the game easier for everybody. And it's true. It's something we've talked about all summer. What is Porzingis going to be able to do? He talked about the opening play against Philly where he made the three. He was like, well, I was actually just supposed to stand in the corner and keep them honest. And that is going to make things easier for a Tatum and a Brown. And that is another reason why it was so exciting to see Tatum on Sunday, despite his poor play, make an effort to get downhill and get himself to the basket in the isolation situations rather than just taking step backs. We need to see more of that throughout the season. We mentioned him trying to win an MVP. If he's going to win an MVP, that's going to become part of it. There can't be any more settling. Your team is too good to settle at this point. If you can't get a great shot, unless the clock is running out, the ball can move, you can drive and create or use your gravity to pull in other defenders, or just make them pay at the rim, get to the free throw line. It's such a great luxury that he has. He needs to take advantage of it.
I said this, we were talking before the preseason kicked off. I think it might have been on that first pregame show. And we said something like, which player will be more impactful, Jrue Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis? And I said, Jrue Holiday will be more impactful. Kristaps will change the way they play. And this is a big part of it. Like, I've been preaching this all summer, even before Kristaps was even a trade possibility. Like, you bring in Kristaps Porzingis, and it completely shifts the offensive game for the Celtics, because you not only now have all 3-point shooters on the court, but you have a guy comfortable creating for himself at levels that the other guys aren't, right? Like, you talk about the post a lot. That's huge. You look at the 3-point line. You saw the three he got the start of the game. He's 3 feet behind the line. He just sunk it, right? With his height, with his shot arc, it's so tough to guard him as it is, that you look at him on that Wizards team last year at a super efficient season because they fed him in his spots and he was able to for lack of a better word, he cooked, right? He just kind of just did what he did. You put him on a team where opponents can't just focus on him. It's not only going to open up the game for him, but it's also going to create situations where, say the Celtics are facing the Bucks in a 7-game series. Who's guarding Porzingis, right? Giannis maybe, but then if Giannis is guarding Porzingis, who's guarding Tatum? You know what I'm saying? Like, there isn't a team out there with enough defenders to cover all of the Celtic stars. They're going to have to live with something. And if the gonna live with it is Porzingis, the Celtics are in a really good spot. Just that talent level with his skill set is going to just transform the Celtics offense. And you got a glimpse of that in the first preseason game against the Sixers. And that was even without like the Jays playing, or Brown was good, but like without Tatum playing at his full capacity, like he
even
struggled.
Jrue Holiday was 2 of 10.
So you're going to really see some special things, I think, on offense with Porzingis and his spacing and stuff. So I'm excited for that very much. So
we all saw what he was capable of. That's for sure. I'm riding high from the game still. And it's Wednesday.
Yes. Okay. Let's look at Jersey Gate. I did see this. I know you put in the sheet, but I do know what this is in reference to. We've briefly mentioned this. We're not sure what the Celtic City Edition jersey is going to look like. However, Greed Runs Deep, who is Celtic super fan, he's been around the team a long time, who said some mean things on Twitter to me once, but he's a nice guy, so I forgive him for it. He posted this to Twitter, and he said, Celtic City Edition jerseys, ? I don't exactly know what this is, but if I had to take a guess, this is some merch that people are selling, and it could be you know how they make like jersey, like t-shirts and sweatshirts based on the City Edition?
Sweatshirts, and please give us all the money you can. Yep.
So I would buy that this could be it. And if it is, I have to see the rest of the jersey. Don't hate the font. I don't hate. I think it's simple enough where I don't mind it. I'm curious to know what do you think, because I know you just hate jerseys in general. Please, for the sake of this, put the Nike bias aside and just judge it based on a jersey, not the fact that they could wear it a lot or they could do too much. Just basic, like the jersey itself. Do you like it? Like ignore the rest of the stuff.
Well, the second part of this, before we get into that, is this color. This itself is not going to be the jersey. NBA University or Jersey University Uniform Tracker, NBA Uniform Tracker, pardon me, investigated this, saw the tweet, quote tweeted it, and said, going to look into this, then followed up and said, hearing that the jersey will not be white or black, so this is likely a related item. Like you mentioned, sweatshirt, t-shirt, whatever they sell to make even more money. So I will quickly go look for it and also talk. But they mocked up a jersey.
I think I saw it. Hold up.
Okay.
I think I saw it up here. Let me
Even
know
better.
let me know which one it is, because there were a bunch of them that I saw come through.
That was it right there.
Okay.
Top one.
Gotcha.
So this is a guess of what the alternate could look like. Now, I do not hate this jersey.
I don't either.
Here's why. One, if they're going to have alternates, I prefer that they're not white. Just a personal preference. Two, it's kind of different, but not too different. Where if this was their regular road jersey, it would be all right, I suppose. It wouldn't. I prefer the default, the classic green, white, simple. But I was always a sucker for the St. Patrick's Day jersey when they would have the gold font. There's a touch of gold on the trim. If you're listening, the trim of this jersey has the 2 gold stripes with, what is that, a brown stripe in the middle?
That's the part I don't love. I don't love the brown.
Yeah, I don't know if the brown needs to be in there.
Yeah, I wish it was I'm sorry, I'm switching tabs so we can look to go to the monitor.
It's a darker shade of gold, maybe.
I hope it's a little more vibrant, because remember a few seasons ago when we saw mock-up Ennis Freedom leak the jersey and everyone was mad. Yeah, but then it looked better on screen. I hope that's what we're getting with this. This is also completely unofficial, so take this all with a huge grain of salt. But we shall see. I wonder if this could be completely unrelated. I wonder if our good friend mocked up anything. Pete Rogers, legend. I don't know. That looks fun.
See anything. But
no, he just said Woodcop, and he said 1,000,000,000%. This got the Pete Rogers stamp of approval, so that's a great sign. He also is
kind of messed up that they didn't ask him to make one. After all of the attention Pete Rogers got last year, all of the coverage, he was on the news, he was on our show, he was everywhere. Nobody reached out to him and was like, hey, you should help us design the jersey for the Celtics this year, because everybody would think that rules.
Yeah. I agree. I don't hate those jerseys. Hopefully they work out, or something works out where they're not bad this year. But let's check in with our emails. I don't know how many we have. I
We have
purposely
at least
don't look.
2, I think.
I don't look so I
Could be
can
wrong.
react to them live on the email. I opened up my personal email by accident. I was like, we have a lot of emails, but we don't have a lot of emails. Oh, I had mini
Whoa,
panic.
whoa.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's start with RJ. Okay, he emailed us after the playback. Sorry we didn't see this because we recorded the rest of the show before. Watching the playback was amazing. Absolutely wish the Celtics had won, but even the fourth quarter was too sketchy for the summer league. Couldn't ruin the fun of watching a Celtics game with the actual Celtics fans on playback. Thank you two for hosting. Brissett and Payton continued to impress. Payton looked good in the stretches. Hauser is getting passed by Svi, and even if Missoula likes continuity, well, shout out the video we just made on it. And can somebody please demonstrate why the Celtics got called for so many offensive fouls on their high screens? Fun trivia fact: Evan Fournier is still staring at Tibbs. Be well. Thank you, RJ, for the kind words. I had a lot of fun on playback. Playback was really fun. I enjoyed that.
We'll be back next Thursday for the Hornets game.
Yes, Hornets game.
Final
I think we're gonna try to
preseason
do
game, the finale.
yeah. I think we're going to try to do once a week throughout the season. We don't want to do it every game, but like once a week seems like a healthy medium.
I agree because I like watching the games on my couch, but I will watch them with the people. Why not?
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Celtics riddle. Yeah. Okay, Sam, turn the screen off. Turn the screen off. We'll quiz
All
you.
right, I'll get out.
Yo, from Philip. I like who he play for segment. It's short and I love trivia. So I was bored and wrote a riddle for you guys. Well, Philip, I'm going to read it. Hopefully I don't see the answer. Oh, the answer's. Oh, I don't think the answer's on here, so I can play too. This might be lame, so seriously consider not including this. No, we're including it. I'm already reading it. The answer is far below and backwards, so don't read it unless you want to. Oh, Philip, you're. Can we just clap it up for Philip for already like helping me do this, so I can play too.
Backward. Okay.
Legend. Riddle. When a river with ducks ran through our garden, a small house was built behind me. Oh, this is a riddle. I had to leave for a time, but when I returned, I was surprised to see the house in a new position. Who am I? Wait. Oh, God, Philip, we're too dumb for this.
A river with ducks ran through our garden. Is that duck boats? Maybe? The Charles?
Well, a small house was built behind me. What's the small house? I had to leave for a time.
This might be old garden, new garden. And then house in new position is the garden.
I had to leave for a time. But yeah, who returned? The Ducks?
Is it Danny Ainge?
I don't know.
Could have been Danny Ainge.
I was surprised to see the house in a new position. Did Danny Ainge, he left and come back?
Well, he was on the team and then he came back as a GM.
Are we taking garden too literally?
I think it was put that way for a reason.
So are you guessing Danny Ainge?
That's like the first thing that comes to my head. I don't know. What do you think?
I have no fucking clue. I thought this was going to be like The Wind. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like I thought this was going to be like
The Wind?
Well, no, not actually. Like I didn't think that was the answer, but I thought it was going to be like a riddle, like something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like not the Celtics related. I don't know. We can go Danny Ainge because I've got nothing.
Philip's actually the Riddler, and he has Duke captured. So
yeah,
if you get it wrong, Duke is getting his other ACL repaired.
Oh shit, Duke, my dog. I'll show you pictures of Duke in a second. I took a couple. Yeah, you want to go Danny Ainge? I got nothing.
Yeah, that's my guess.
The answer
is Sam Cassell.
I forgot it was backward. I was about to try to read it like that.
Is Rivers Doc Rivers? When we had duck boats for our title, the small house is
Eddie House. Okay, who was behind Cassell in the lineup and moved to the new role in media by the time Cassell. That's actually really good. There's a lot of thought in that.
Good job.
I was about to read this as Lasac Mass though, so I was very confused. But Sam mentioned Duke, so let me actually pull up those pictures quick. I sent them to myself so I could share them on the screen. So my dog, as I might have mentioned to y'all,
on the playback for sure, we found out that you were betting away the funding as he needed treatment.
Yeah, so I he came back from surgery and he is not too pleased. He's very angry because
that looks like me when the Celtics lose.
Yeah, he has to sit in this cage. This was me trying to bet. He has to sit in this cage with the cone on for 8 weeks. So Duke is very sad. Everyone saying
this is Duke's
sorry,
bubble.
Duke. Yeah, Duke's in the bubble.
Yeah.
In the bubble. So he's very upset. But let's finish up the emails here. We have one more, I believe, from RJ. And then we'll wrap up this segment. Reflections on deep bench, guys. Evening, guys. A few thoughts on Monday's game. Sam, I think, touched on it briefly during Tuesday's podcast, criticizing someone like Kornet for not suddenly putting up a double-double when he got the start, or otherwise looking more like a starter is unfair to Kornet. Even if he does pull a start in the regular season, his role would be that of a supporting player doing the things that make life easier for the stars. He's not going to be asked to be Kristaps Jr., which he was doing was he doing the things that are in his wheelhouse during his time on the floor is my question. Similarly, guys like Queta and Gabriel do have different and probably more physical downs than Luke, but committing fouls like you were ordering Duncan Munchkins doesn't fall under the heading of helping the team. If what you need are minutes, ask Noah Vonleh. True. Likewise, I think the battle for time at the backup wing will be won by the guys who can show they can play hard within their skill set and play a role as hero support. Sounds much better than sidekick. Fair. It's easy to pick on his shooting woes, but he looked in place on defense and tied for lead in rebounding. I believe that's Brissett. I don't think you mentioned her name, but probably maybe Stevens. After Wednesday's game, the team will have a better part of a week to break down film, refine some games and skills and practice, and get more accustomed with each other. I'll be curious to see how the new guys look in their rematch with the Knicks and how they've integrated what the coaching staff focuses on. Be well and see you on playback. We'll see you next Thursday for the Hornets game on playback. Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, they'll have practice. Yeah, we'll throw links. I'll add it to the regular pod description. But Celtics do have come back from Philly, get a day off, I think, and then they have practice Friday, Saturday. So they'll be back in the gym working on stuff. And I'll be there, hopefully. So there's that. Thank you, RJ. Thank you, Philip. We appreciate you all as always. Let's move on to the NBA portion of the programming. New Miami Heat legend, Sam, kick this off because I know it's going to make you angry.
Well, kind of angry.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami has become notorious for finding these guys off the street that come in and end up quite simply producing for them, being killers. You've seen Gabe Vincent, somebody they found, Duncan Robinson, who was undrafted or second round draft pick. I don't remember exactly which one. Undrafted. Caleb Martin. Everybody remembers him. They wasted no time. In their preseason opener against the Charlotte Hornets, Cole Swider, Rhode Islander Cole Swider, popped off in the fourth quarter for 17 points.
Wow.
5 threes, 5 of 8. He balled out. He was on the Lakers last year, or at least he was on their summer league roster. He was involved with them. I don't think he actually played, but happy to see a Rhode Islander doing well. Wish it wasn't for the Heat. They don't need any more free guys.
I will say it is nice they stole him from the Lakers. That is.
Yep, that's true. This is better than him being good for the Lakers.
Cole Swider did play for Lakers. I think he was on a two-way with them. I
knew it was something like that. It wasn't like a standard deal.
I just know he played in 7 games. I'm looking at their basketball reference right now, but I'm curious to see if he was on a two-way. I will say, better Cole Swider than Justin Champagnie.
That's true. Yeah, that would
much better. He was on a two-way with them last year. Yeah, sorry, I was checking. I'd rather Cole Swider play well than Justin Champagnie because that would make me sad. Did Justin Champagnie get minutes so far this preseason?
No idea.
I'm gonna check now, just because I'm interested.
Sure.
But yeah, the Heat never fail to find somebody good. Cole Swider poured in 17. Justin Champagnie did not get in the game. But yeah,
says a lot.
Cole Swider is gonna. You just know he's going to win them a playoff game.
I'll supplementary root for Cole Swider. Why not?
Sure.
I have to.
I have no problem.
From Rhode Island.
Yeah, no problem. How old is Cole Swider?
26.
24, actually. Not as old as I thought. He's also 6'9". He's a tall dude. He could be their new Kevin Love. Anyways, just of course. Let's take a look at another former Celtic other than Justin Champagnie. Daniel Tice got hit below the belt. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Dillon Brooks wasted no time getting ejected. He in his first, I believe his first preseason game with the Rockets, he got ejected for hitting none other than Daniel Tice in the nuts. It just slammed him.
Down goes Tice.
I bet they're gonna show
world champion Daniel Tice.
Yeah, got his ass. Dillon Brooks, like, just I saw someone tweet, they're like, you got to respect Dillon Brooks for continuing to beat Dillon Brooks no matter how much of an asshole he is.
Yeah, he's committed to the bit. There's
He is.
no mistake about that.
I'm
Number
sorry.
9 for Houston.
That was the most, like, he did like such a terrible job of hiding it. he just swung right at him. I saw somebody look. I saw somebody in the comments of this video or a video of it be like, Tice is fucking selling it. I'm like, what do you mean he's selling it to Brooks?
Got hit the balls.
Yeah.
My favorite Daniel
Tice
Tice video is when he gets kicked in the face.
Shall we find that?
Yeah, pull it up. Daniel Tice, who should bring back the blonde hair. I think the blonde hair would look very good with the Pacers uniform. With the yellow.
Comes to help.
Boom.
Oh, God.
He suffered sweet chin music from Pascal Siakam. He did get the ball after.
They called the foul on Siakam. I was ready for this foul on Tice. Oh, man. Poor Tice. Can't catch a break. Last NBA thing before who you play for. The Mavericks are frauds.
I tweeted this yesterday. So
Fraud
there were
watch.
3 NBA teams on Tuesday who were set to take on teams that were non-NBA teams. Washington and Portland both took care of business, beating the piss out of their opponents. I believe they won by like a combined 140 points or something like that. The Mavericks couldn't get the job done against Real Madrid.
Mhm.
Tough. This is a bad start for Grant Williams in Dallas.
Yeah.
2
Very
of
tough.
7 in that first game. Terrible. Then he loses to Real Madrid. What's happening?
Mm-hmm. He shot 3 of 5.
He's
and 2
above
of 4
Derrick
in a
White.
game. He had 9 rebounds and 4 assists though. He had like a Draymond stat line, low key. But the subplot of this is a couple former Celtics did the job. Vincent Poirier, 19 and 10 off the bench. Vincent Poirier had 6 blocks against the Mavericks.
Bring him back.
Gershon Yabusele as well. I want to see if we can find the highlights of that. Sorry, Vincent Poirier. 6 blocks. I need to see the blocks. But I don't know if we're gonna get to see it. Mavs. What do I even look up? Mavs. Real
Mavs
Madrid.
lose to
If I
Real
can't find it
Madrid.
in a second, then okay, hold up. I've got.
Poirier
this
was
is
not
like-
very good.
This is 10 minutes of highlights. I don't know if that's worth it. But just know that Vincent Poirier. Oh, we can't see the blocks. We can only see the points. I'm abandoning the
Abandon
search
ship.
for highlights. Yeah. But they beat their ass. All right, Sam. Shall we play some who he play for?
Yes.
Okay.
Still
I
trying
don't
to
have-
learn.
I don't have a full list, but every time I do this, I just go to the free agents sign page on Spot Track, and I just go from there. So bear with me; it's not going to be as snap, but
It's good that
I
people
do
get
have
to
stuff.
learn about transactions they might not have heard about.
I'll give you a little layup. We'll
All
start
right.
something easy. Joe Ingles, who you play for?
Joe Ingles, Orlando.
Yes, that is correct. Joe Ingles is in Orlando. Signed him to a pretty hefty, relatively deal.
Yeah, he makes like 11 million.
Yeah, 2 years, 11 mil a season, 22 total. It's a pretty good contract. All right, Keita Bates Diop, who he played for.
He was on the
Ooh.
Spurs,
Correct.
and he went to the Suns.
Also correct. There you go.
He was
Okay.
a Celtics target.
Was he?
At one point, it was rumored. It was rumored that they were interested in.
I wouldn't have hated that. He's a solid player. I wouldn't have hated that. Let's see. Some of these are too easy. That's the problem. We've already gone over so many that it's tough for me to find ones that could stump you. I might have to start dipping into the exhibit something players.
No, you can't do that. That's not
Only
the
if
point
they're
of
known.
this.
I'd only do an exhibit one if it's like a Lamar Stevens, like an actual player who's on an
Sure.
exhibit, or like RJ Hunter's on an exhibit. But you should know that. Oh God, this is tough. I've already I just was about to ask you Darius Baisley, but I've already asked you Darius Baisley. Okay, Chimizi Metu. Chimizi Metu. Hit me. Do we know
Oh man,
who he played for? Ooh, did I get
did
you?
he also go to the Suns?
He did also go to the Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was hesitating. Okay, that's 3. Derrick Jones Jr., who he played for.
Is he in Chicago still, or did he move?
He
He moved.
Okay, we're back. I got you. We're back. I got his ass. Let's go.
Where the hell did he go? I don't know. I have no guess.
Really? Okay, he went to Dallas.
Am I going to be upset?
No, he went to Dallas. He's in with the Mavs.
Oh, I do remember that actually, but
Yep.
I blanked. I had no idea.
He did go to Dallas. All right, last one. And if it's too easy, we'll do one more. Kenyon Martin Jr., who he played for. Is this too easy? Do we know this?
Did he leave Houston?
He did leave Houston. I'm glad I got you again. Okay.
Did he go to the Pacers?
No, he did not.
Oh my gosh, where did he
Obi
go?
Toppin, you're thinking of. He got traded. It wasn't a signing. He got traded.
Okay, he got traded. He was on the Rockets.
I think it was just for seconds. There were no other players involved. I think it was just like
I don't know. Who did he get traded to?
he's on the Clippers. He's in LA.
Really? Yeah, I would not have got that.
Okay. I'm glad. Okay. That was good who he played for. We got Sam a little bit. I was panicking because I didn't have anything. I was struggling to find them.
No, those are good ones because
Good.
those are legitimate rotation players that I literally have no idea that they even changed teams.
Fire. Love to hear. All right, let's do the rat list, Sam. You want to kick it off here?
Yeah. So rat list, people at the gym that kind of don't recognize personal space. So in Planet Fitness in the back, there is a small section, probably good for like 4 or 5 people to all have their own little space. There's also if you've been to a Planet Fitness or maybe another gym, you might be familiar with a stretching cage, which is like a bunch of bars, and there's so many different ways you can stretch in there to make sure you don't hurt yourself. I stretch all the time because I'm running and I don't want to be hurt. So in between sets at the gym, I'll kind of post up my weights next to it. I'll make sure I get space over there, and I'll use that too. That way I'm, making the most of my time. People not recognizing that the weights are on the ground and just kind of walking over where like I'm like posted up. It's like my keys are there, my water's there, my weights are there. You blowing from Stupid Town? What do you think? I'm just not there? And then they're like, oh, you using this? Like, yeah, these 2 kids came over and like walked right where like I was using one of the barbells, like the really long ones, and I have it vertical because that's kind of how I put it down. I don't want it to roll away. And they start setting up with her. It's like, what do you think that's there for? Did I leave that there for my health?
Yeah, that's a disaster.
It's better than the high school kids that'll come in 5 at a time and just watch one kid lift in the summer. Because they do the free, if you're in school, you get to go to the gym for free in the summer.
That's a mess. That's a disaster. Man, I had some okay routes, I thought, but I forget them and I don't write them down in time, so it's my own problem. What did I have for routes today? Oh, I'll ratless my other dog. So I showed you the picture of Duke in the cage.
Yeah.
My other dog, Charlie, decided today. Duke was lying down finally. Duke hates getting back in the cage, as you can imagine, right?
I would hate getting back in the cage too.
He
Do you
struggles.
entice
right?
him? Do you like put like a treat?
We try, but he has gotten immune to that. He's just like, fuck you. I know where I'm going. I don't want to. So he's lying down today finally. And Charlie goes up and starts fucking with him. She just is like outside of the cage like this. She's like sniffing around like, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? And then he just starts barking at her. And so they start fighting through the cage. And he's got like a torn ACL, like he's had surgery. And so he's like, he's struggling. It was a mess. So rat list to my other dog for being an asshole and instigating.
I like that though. That's almost anti-rat list. Like that's being like a good sibling. You're kind of supposed to fuck with everybody. Like we make fun of Henry all the time. Like that's the same thing. Like Henry can't stay awake. Duke can't leave the cage. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll
rat list ESPN. So Jack and I, as well as many other Celtics blog writers, did our fantasy basketball draft last night. And I'll tell you what, ESPN does not give a flying fuck about fantasy basketball. Did I say football the first time?
Yeah, but you corrected it.
Fantasy basketball, whatever. So you can still draft John Wall. You can draft Kemba, I think.
Dwight Howard, yep.
Dwight Howard. They do not pay much attention to those that have departed the league.
Jabari
that
Parker
might not have a home. They did not pay much attention to that at all. You have to find Payton Pritchard in like a search. He's like 800th ranked. He doesn't even have projections for the upcoming season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's ranked
I could see
below
that becoming
guys.
a problem. I feel like they low-key won't update the stats.
No. Yeah, I didn't consider that. No, because that shit's automatic. You know what I'm saying? But
I suppose
it is odd. It is weird. Ratlist Amazon. I ordered
Okay.
something
It
overnight.
is Prime Day.
Yeah. Is it Prime Day today?
Yeah, and
What is that?
yesterday.
What is Prime Day?
A bunch of deals. It's like there are
Oh.
Black Friday in October, but only for Prime.
Whatever. Well, I ordered something overnight. Like, I didn't pay extra. It was just an option. I was like, okay, cool, I'll have this tomorrow. And the reason I wanted it overnight is because I've ordered a notebook to write my ideas for articles down, and
That's
I had
right.
ideas that I know that I would forget. And it just didn't fucking come yesterday. It's coming tonight. I'm like, what's the point of me clicking, yeah, or send it overnight if you're not gonna fucking send it overnight?
It's true.
Like, what's the point? I didn't pay extra, so I'm not gonna like bitch and moan to them, but like, what are we doing? Also, ratless businesses who aren't open on Tuesdays, on like normal fucking weekdays. I went
That's
to
a good
order
call.
sushi because there's this place I really like in Stoughton, which is a town near me called Nagoya. Great. But like, and I'm not gonna rat list them specifically. I'm just gonna rat list businesses in general who do this because I really like their sushi and they're fucking awesome. It's a weekday. And it's specifically Tuesday too. Like, Tuesday is the day that a lot of businesses are just randomly closed. Why? For what?
Because they don't get business that day. They're trying to save money. It's annoying. Make no mistake. Rat list,
Yeah.
but that's why.
That's fucked. Open. Stop. Cut the shit.
The best was like after 4th of July, like there were places that are just like, yeah, we're just gonna be closed for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Ratless.
I get it. People need time off, but oof. Rat list time.
Yeah.
It is October 11th. It needs to be October 20th because I've been waiting for 5 years to play Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2. I've talked to Jack about Spider-Man numerous times over the past couple days.
One of the first facts I knew about Sam was how much he liked Spider-Man, and he pulled up all the DVDs.
I love Spider-Man. I'm going to pull it right now.
Do you have the DVDs still?
I got my 3
or whatever
DVDs
it is
right here. I've never taken them out of the box because I actually just don't use Blu-ray. But unedited, you got the Blu-ray collection. You got the little pictures. These are original Spider-Man movies. I mean, great films. Fantastic.
This is like when your little brother shows you his really cool Lego set that he's like super proud of. It's like,
it's one of my
guys, no, I
things,
look
dude.
it.
It's like I'm like a weirdo for Spider-Man. I get pumped for all of it. So literally took the day out of work. The last time Spider-Man came out, the first one came out in 2018. How the times have changed. But I woke up. Well, first I stayed up midnight, played for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Went to bed, woke up at 7, and then just played till 1 in the morning. It was the best day ever. Just like sat there all day playing. You bet I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
And if you're coming to play back next Thursday, it's going to be like a couple hours before. I'm going to be on another level.
Oh man. Do I have any more rat lists? I'm trying to think. I definitely had some that I can't remember. And it's mostly because I just can't remember what I did yesterday. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened yesterday. What was yesterday? I don't think I did anything.
Did you do anything yesterday?
That's what I think I did, and I think I had a.
You did stuff yesterday because you were up, I think. Did you have to go get your dog? Was that what it was?
I have no idea what I did yesterday. I didn't golf yesterday, right? Golf was the day before yesterday.
Yeah,
did I golf yesterday?
It was a busy day, Monday.
So my dog did come home. This is just Jack has an existential crisis on the podcast. My dog came home yesterday, yes, but I was out when he got here. When he got home. But where the hell was I? Where did I go yesterday? What did I do? I did something.
I don't know what you did.
I let my aunt's dogs out. I let my aunt's dogs out, but I think I did something else other than that too, because I wasn't.
Do you have the Find My iPhone, but like your friends can see you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because Kaylin is like obsessed with that, and she's like, "You don't do that with all your friends." I'm like, "No, I don't need to see where everyone's at. Maybe I need to track you." There was no practice. They were away. I think you just wrote. You were sitting around writing.
What time maybe?
You did the ESPN reaction for Celtics blog. I think you were just hanging out.
Yeah. I guess so. But I did. Oh wait, I guess I just had to go out to let my aunt's dogs out, and I got coffee, and I guess that's all I did. I'm like losing my mind. Yeah, that's all I did. But I thought I did something. I think I had to sit in this room with my other dog Charlie for an hour or 2 hours because they were bringing Duke home and she couldn't get in the way, and all she did was like whine and scratch at my door. So I got a headache, and so I was mad. Yesterday was just like a blank. It's a ratless time for just not existing yesterday, I guess, for me. I'll ratless that as well.
Yeah.
Was that like
time is brutal, man.
Was that just a 5-minute existential crisis for me where I just sat here and like complained about
I wouldn't say it's existential crisis. I just think it's just not paying attention.
Yeah.
You clicked yesterday, like the movie Click when he just fast forwards everything. Have you seen that movie?
No, but I know I have.
You haven't seen Click?
I've seen clips.
Oh my god!
I don't watch movies, dude. What do you want?
Yeah, but that movie came out when we were like kids. Like nobody just sat you down and like you watched it.
Mm-mm.
Oh
no,
man.
It's Adam Sandler, right?
It is.
I know who it is, and I've seen
QB Halloween.
I haven't seen that either. That's all I got, though. You got anything else? This is gonna be a long episode as it is because we got.
We got to brainstorm Rattlers for Jake Fisher if we're gonna have him do the Rattlers. You should have made me save something.
Don't worry, I'm sure there's something we'll get mad at between now and whenever we're recording.
All right.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thanks for. I mean, hopefully, us getting lost on the pod is entertaining. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. We appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics. We hit 1,500 subscribers on the channel. So thank y'all for that. We appreciate it. Check us out on Apple and Spotify. Leave us 5 stars and a review there. And leave a comment. That's my favorite part. Subscribe to Playback. I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to whatever channel you're watching on. If you're on ours, make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any daily uploads. We're putting them out, pumping them out. If there's breaking news, we have that covered too. So you don't want to miss any of it. You can find us on Spotify and Apple as well. You can leave us a follow there. Nice 5-star review. Say something nice. And you're always welcome to head over to the YouTube comments and air your grievances too. We had that one guy be like, I listen on Spotify every day. That guy rules. Be like him.
Beast.
Respect. You can also find us on social media at How About Them C's. That reminds me, Jack sent me the graphic for today. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find us there. We're doing our streams. They will go there as well as YouTube. Pre-game, see you tonight, which is actually yesterday. Hope you came. You can find Jack on Twitter, Jack Simone NBA. You can find me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.